my darlings, I'm Sophie Darling and welcome back to the channel. Today we are reacting to episode 8 of Apothecary Diaries. Mao got to go home, she's seen her dad. She bribed the military officer with an introduction to the 3 princesses of the brothel if he escorted her. So he is going to be a very exhausted, busy boy for the next 3 days. But Mama gets to be with her dad. And he says, what a strange twist of fate. I don't think he wanted Mama to worry, which is why he was so like blasé about her disappearance, because he didn't want her to realize that he was stressed about her not being here. But the twist of fate means that they have a connection to the palace in some way. And I've always suspected that she must be nobility or linked to nobility because she can read and write. Again, a very expensive thing to teach your children, especially to teach a daughter. And I know it could be that the dad is a noble or was a noble and learned how to read and write and taught Mao. He could have taught her, but still, it is not an easy thing to teach, and it's a very time-consuming thing to teach. And it's why mostly nobility are the ones that can read and write in this historic time frame. So the fact that she can read and write, even if she's been taught by her dad, still the utensils, the paper, the ink, that's all going to cost money. And it's not going to be cheap because it's going to be really uncommon in the area that they are for people to be reading and writing. So literacy rates are low amongst commoners and the working class, whereas literacy rates are higher middle and upper class. So Mao has to be like middle to upper class nobility at some point, or at least her dad. If not Mao, then maybe her dad, because it seems as if they have ties, because he was like, can't believe she's back there, almost as if they left for a reason. Maybe they left to protect Momo and shield her from this life that they thought would be perhaps lead to her being a concubine, and they didn't ever want that fate to be thrusted upon her. So they left to protect her, because we don't know where Mao's mum is. We don't know if her mum is dead. We don't know if her mum's still alive. We haven't heard anything about her mum. Just thinking about it now, her mum's never been mentioned. It's always her dad. So I just kind of presumed that maybe her mum was dead, but her mum could be alive. We don't know. But either way, it could be that they brought Momo to the country to protect her because they didn't want her growing up in the royal court. They didn't want her living a life where her only advantage would be to become a concubine. They wanted her to live a better life and to have more opportunities, even if the environment she's growing up in is still not ideal. Because, you know, there's the risk of sexual assault, there's the risk of finding yourself working in a brothel because you have no other opportunities available to you as a woman. But the advantage of that is that Mao can read and write, so she has worth and value that's been given to her in this environment because she can do something that is so rare, so uncommon. So they've given her that value to identify herself as something worthy and of importance, more so than having no other traits, and then that would lead you to doing the only thing that you could do to make money, which is either marry well or become a concubine in a brothel, because there's so little opportunity for women in this environment to make money. You either learn a trade, which is hard and competitive, you stand out from the crowd by having traits that are highly desired, and therefore you marry well and your husband provides for you, or you become a concubine in a brothel, because you need to make money somehow if you're not dependent on a man to fund that for you. You have to find some way of securing your existence in the world and providing for yourself. So Mao being able to read and write allows her to then develop a trade in becoming an apothecary. But that's what makes me think that potentially they left the palace to give Mao a better life than being involved and absorbed in court politics, and also only having the ambition of becoming a concubine or a lady in waiting, that her life had more value than being a concubine, and that they didn't want to subject her to that just because she was a girl. Maybe. I'm wondering if that's the direction that they could be going in. But without further ado, we're going to get into episode 8.
ベタつく親父を
She's used to the fine luxuries of the palace now. Being able to bath whenever she wants. Bath, babe. I can't speak today. God.
もう年も年だし、畑仕事はやめてもらいたいが、自分で育てた薬草で薬作るのが好きなんだよな。
That's so cute, though.
壊れる。見ない顔だな。よそのカムロか。親父なら。
Uh-oh. Oh, it's urgent.
姉さん、薬屋連れてきた。早く。この匂い。薬屋さん、とりあえず吐かせたけど。まだだ。男が息してない。女の呼吸も浅い。喉に嘔吐物が残ってないか確認する。そっちを頼む。
Oh, God.
脈もない。喉には詰まってない。
Poison?
唾液だけか。
What the fuck?
水を持ってきて。水は飲ませるな。炭だ。炭を用意しろ。はい。
She looks so cute with a ponytail. I know that's not the purpose of this, but like, holy shit.
朝から一体何なんだよ。
Look at her spring into action.
入りたい。
What the fuck happened?
毒が残ってるかもしれない。毒？お茶の準備するわね。
Jesus, everyone's poisoning everyone here. Maybe this gives her a clue as to who could potentially be trying to poison Lishi.
酒瓶が2つ。割れたガラスの器。これは麦わらか？キセルにタバコの葉。これ炭。ああ、あと木管と書くものも。え？南の外壁のそばの畑にうちの親父がいるはずだから、後で連れてきてくれ。わかった。
She's so cute. Whoa, what was that sus look for?
炭は潰しておいて。
Why was she giving evils to Mao Mao?
すぐに薬草に混ぜて飲ませよう。
あの人は無事よ。薬も飲んだし。
処置の仕方はまあまあかな。
まあまあかい。タバコの葉は猛毒だ。心中で使うならこれだと思う。
水は飲ませなかったようだね。
飲んだら逆効果だろ。
そうだね。胃液が毒の吸収を抑えることもあるから、その場合は逆効果だろう。でも、もしこれが最初から水に溶かしたものであったなら、
嘔吐物に葉が混じってない。水に溶かしたものであれば薄めた方がいい場合もある。よし、覚えた。
すまないね。
She's still learning
茶
though.
菓子を振る舞うとなかなか気前が良い。なるほど。器に紅が映らないように使うのか。
Oh, it's a straw.
これは心ばかりだが。
いや、そんなにもらえな。
親父、今月やり手ババアに家賃払えるのか。
では、
この親父は。
He's like, no, it's fine. It's like, you need to pay rent, Dad.
しかしあの男、身なりは随分上等だった。顔立ちも甘く、金にも女にも困りそうにない。義女との未来を憂いて毒を飲むようには見えなかった。ちょっと様子を見てくる。
Did she do it? But then why would she come for Mao Mao to save them if she did it? Or maybe she's been asked to do it by another concubine and she regretted it. Whoa, girl, what the fuck? Why? What did he do? I want to be as savage as Mao Mao going around her button kids. Fuck.
あんたたち何してるの？義女に甘い言葉をかけて身請けをほのめかしては飽きたら捨てるを繰り返す。恨みばかり買って逆上した女に刺されそうになったり。けど豪商の父親に甘やかされて ことあるごとに金で解決してた。この子の姉もあの男に捨てられたの。
Oh.
これからは一緒に暮らせるって喜んでいたのに、身請けの当日に急に白紙にされて。
Did her sister commit suicide? Out of the shame
だから
and anger and
許せなかったん
humiliation?
だと思う。今回一緒に毒を飲んだ子にも懐いていたから。
これで心中騒ぎとなれば召喚としては頭が痛い話ですね。やけに手厚かったのは豪商の息子を自分の店で死なせずに済んだからか。それが逆に理不尽に感じられたのだろ
That's why she's side-eyed.
う。わかりました。
She's so young, she doesn't understand
今
the
日はたまたま
politics.
私が家に帰っていたが、いつも買い物をしている子なら親父のいない時間くらい知っていたかもしれない。
She didn't expect to run into
普通な
Mao
ら医
Mao.
者を呼ぶ状況でわざわざ不在の薬屋を呼びに来たとすれば、
So calculated. Oh my god. It didn't mention if her sister's still alive though. It just said like her older sister was dumped by him.
話からして男はかなりしたたかだ。そんな男が惚れた腫れたで心中など起こすものだろうか。
No, I think she's poisoned them.
いや、毒を盛られたことのある男がそう簡単に。
マオマオ、憶測で物を言っちゃいけないよ。
親父はもう真相に気づいているんだろう。
He's smart. She's like, tell me.
今回一緒に毒を飲んだ子にも懐いていたから。
Was close to her as
ゴ
well.
ミが映らないように使うのか。これ
So
は心中じゃない。
insinuating, was it a murder suicide? Oh, murder suicide. So the plot was that she would kill
水に
herself.
溶かしたもの。
Wait. Did she drink one that was diluted with water to prevent her body essentially from absorbing it? And then they were going to give her water so she would survive, but he would die because he wouldn't drink it if he thought it was poisoned. And the only way to get him to drink it was if she drank it as well. So then she would also suffer the consequences. So if they were close to the courtesan that was dumped by him, and it's heavily insinuated that that courtesan has died, they're using past tense language like was. So that indicates that she's not alive anymore. So what if it was like not a murder suicide? That was my first thought, but more a attempt at murder, but the courtesan would have survived because they would have given her water to dilute the poison, but his wouldn't have been diluted with water. His would have just been straight poison. Because when she woke up, she said, what about him? Almost as if like she expected as part of the plot to be brought back, but expected him to die as a consequence. And then no one could say that it was the brothel's fault because the courtesan was also poisoned. So it's kind of like two birds with one stone. I think it's a plot between all three of them, like the young serving girl, the courtesan that drank the poison, and then the one that was kind of like comforting the younger serving girl and was talking about like her older sister and how, you know, she was also dumped by the man and that it all seems really unfair to the serving girl. It was an attempted murder, but the courtesan drank the poison so that he would then also drink the poison because he's already been poisoned before, so it would have looked suspicious if she didn't drink it.
もう終わったことだよ。
わかってる。
It's like, forget about it, move on, but she just wants to get to the bottom of the mystery. I would too.
どうやって毒酒を飲ませたのか。
By drinking it
簡
herself.
単だ。毒味をしてみせればいい。妓女が無事なら男は酒を口にする。そこで道具を使った。酒は2種類。器は1つ。酒は中身が違えば濃さや重さが違う。重い酒の上に。
But she also was having a reaction and had to be purged, so
見た目が良い。客を喜ばせる小ネタとして使えば。怪しまれることなく妓女は。
oh, that didn't have the poison mixture,
妓女も上積みの酒を飲んだ。
but not enough to kill her.
少しの量を。
Okay, I was gonna say she must have had some, but she needed to make it look real. Like she also
男
was a
が死に
victim.
自分が生き残る計算を考えた上で朝方にことを起こしたのだろう。儚げだがそれでいてしたたかだ。
姉さん何やってるの
Oh, wait.
カムロ
Makes
の
sense.
行動はどこかおかしかった
Okay, maybe she
男を
is the
手遅れに
older
するために
sister.
わざわざ医者ではなく薬屋を訪ね親父を呼ぶのにも時間をかけた。そこに姉ちゃんへの心配はなかったのだろうか。
She was delaying
実
the
は姉と同
inevitable.
じようにまた親しい者が死ぬとは考えなかったの
Oh,
だろうか。
okay. Big sis is just like an
まるで
affectionate
死なない
term.
と分かって行動しているようだった。
Yeah, because she was in on
考え
it.
すぎだろうか。
Nah, she was in
そ
on
し
it.
てカムロにやたら同情的な義女。もしやみんな
Yeah, I think they were all in on it. Mao, you're on the right path, my
憶
girl.
測で物を言っちゃいけないか。
Yeah, but you're on the right path.
ずっと帰りたかった花町も本質は高級と変わらない。
No, it's
花
not.
園であり鳥かごだ。みんな閉じこもった空気に毒されていく。義女も周りの毒を食らうことで甘い毒へと変わっていく。
もう高級に戻るの
年季がまだ1年残ってるし、仕事を放棄したら迷惑がかかる。
マオマオが急に行方不明になってみんな心配してたのよ。パイリンもジョカもおばばも。
そんなこと一言も。
Of course she worried.
いつ
It
も
was an
通りだったでしょ
affectionate punch.
あんたが帰ってきたからよ。
そっか。
やだ、寂しくなっちゃった。よしよし。
メイ姉ちゃん。
マオマオ、離れには行ったの？
後で行く。
The annex? What's in the annex? Why is she so kind of like against going to the annex?
3日間の里帰りはあっという間に終わった。
もう帰っちゃうなんて残念だわ。ねえ、リハク様。
いや実に
He's had the time of his life.
みたいだな。一度天井の甘露を知れば地上には戻れない。
I mean, they have to become a sweet poison
絞り取られることだろう。
to lure him in, make him addicted.
前払いで足りなかった銀を補うのは私だ。
帰ってくるときは連絡しな。
おかげで次の身売り先が決定である。
Oh, goddamn. Oh, she's so mad.
なぜだろう。やたらこっちを睨んでいる。
Jealous,
早めに退散
Jinji.
しよう。では着替えてまいりますので。
応接室で待っているぞ。
He's so angry. I love it. Gyokiyu is like, I love this. She's here for the drama. She's living for
失
it.
礼いたします。なんだか態度が悪い気がする。
Because he loves you. That's
気のせいだ
why.
ろうか。気のせいにしたい。気のせいにしよ
里帰り行ってきたようだな。
う。はい。
どうだった？
みんな元気そうで何よりでした。
李白っていうのはどういう男なんだ？
身元引受人です。なぜに名前を知っている？
Oh, he's been investigating who it
分かって言っ
was.
ているのか。その意味が。
ええ
Oh, is he gonna tell
身元
her?
のしっかりした交換でなければ引受人にはなれないと。
Because she doesn't know.
かんざしをもらったのか。
何本も配っていましたので義理でいただきました。
つまり義理でもらったものに俺は負けたんだな。
She's like, huh?
俺もあげたはずなんだが、全く話は来なかったな。
要するに自分に話が来なかったのが気に食わないのか。
He's so cute.
不思議なものだ。面倒ごとには関わらない方が楽に決まってい
And
るのに。
she's so
暇
oblivious.
人だから夜会事でも構ってもらいたいのか。
No, he just wants your attention.
人士様にご満足いただける対価など思いつかなかったもので。
対価ってなんだ？
Oh, he's gonna
それ
think,
を李白ってやつに払ったのか。
yeah, that she's done something.
いつやら
Oh no!
喜んでおりました。
Momo! Stop talking!
一夜。
ふん大変ご満足いただけたよう
Oh
に、
no!
こちらとしても頑張った甲斐がありました。
Gonna think she slept with him.
何してるんですか？
He's gonna be like, it should have been me.
失礼しますよ。茶碗もすぐ片付けますから、 触らないでくださいよ。はあ失礼します。
Oh dear. Kyokyu's having the time of her life. I love it. She ships them so hard. She's trying to like pair them together. Oh, Jinshi. I think his soul left his body in that moment where he's like, it should have been me. It should have been me. It's like I granted him a night of blissful dreams. It's like, Mama, stop talking. But it's also really funny because she's so naive to what things mean and the power of her words. And yet she literally worked in a brothel, helped in a brothel, has like seen some of like the seediest stuff to the point that she's even giving like sex tips to a courtesan on how to please the emperor. And yet on the same side of things, she's like so naive and oblivious, and it's hilarious. It's just comedic gold. I love the writing of this because she's so knowledgeable in some areas and just so innocent and naive in others. It just creates these bizarre moments that are pure entertainment. This show is phenomenal. Every episode has been a wild ride and has been so enjoyable. All the characters are so good as well. I love this show. Genuinely, I don't think I've watched like a show so far that I haven't enjoyed. I think for me, it's like Attack on Titan, Apothecary Diaries, Frieren, then Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and then Death Note. Because I've only watched 5. I haven't finished Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, so that list might change. But so far, I feel like Death Note is my least favorite from what I've watched. I really enjoyed the dynamic, and I enjoyed the intrigue and the mystery and the thriller aspect and the crime detective sort of investigating what's going on and what the next move's going to be. I really love like crime shows and like criminal true crime documentaries. So that was the part of Death Note I really enjoyed. But the writing began to really plummet, and the way that they wrote women really sort of didn't sit right with me, and I wasn't a big fan. I did enjoy L and Light and how they were written, but I feel like every other kind of character around them, especially the women characters, really paled in comparison. So Death Note is kind of like my least favorite. Attack on Titan, phenomenal show. Just got it tattooed on me because that show has my whole heart. I don't think I have loved a piece of media more than Attack on Titan, and I have more Attack on Titan tattoos planned, which is really sad, I know, but I love the show and I decorate my body with things that I love. I have Pokemon tattooed on me, so I mean, what's the difference really? And then I really love Frieren. I think Frieren's a phenomenal show. It has my whole heart. I kept crying. I also have a Frieren tattoo booked at the end of September. But I feel like Apothecary Diaries so far is edging Frieren out just a little bit for me. And I think it's because of the romantic dynamic and the court politics and the political intrigue. Frieren didn't really have that. Frieren had like really important philosophical life lessons and the importance of memory and remembering those that we've lost and how we carry our memories forward in everything that we do, and how small actions in the past can have ripple effects in the future, that it can then be what influence everyone to be a hero. And I love that we do get to see the romantic elements between Himmel and Frieren, and even though they happened in the past, they still impact everything that Frieren does. And it all comes back to Himmel. It all links back to Himmel. And it's such a beautiful show, as well in showing that your family isn't who you're blood related to, but it is who you form bonds with and emotional ties with. You choose your family. It's honestly a beautiful show. It really is. But Apothecary Diaries just has that like comedic value, that historical political intrigue that I love, and this like romantic tension, slow burn between Jinshi and Mao Mao that I am just living for. So I feel like it's very close between Apothecary Diaries and Frieren for like second place. I feel like if I could, I'd put them both at second place. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I'm still very, very early in. I do love that show as well. So it's a really hard choice, but I feel like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I'm still really early in, is kind of like third place for me, even though I die for Alphonse. Apothecary Diaries and Free Run would be like joint second, but Apothecary Diaries just slightly higher than Free Run, and then Attack on Titan so far. But I haven't watched a bad show yet. I haven't watched a show where I've been like, this is awful, I don't want to watch this at all, and then just quit. I'm worried about the day when that does happen, when I'm watching something and I'm like, this is really bad, I don't want to continue this, because I imagine it will happen at some stage. But if it ever does happen, I will be open and honest for my reasons why I stopped watching a show. I won't just ever abandon it and not give a reason behind it. But Apothecary Diaries, oh, this show, honestly, thank you to everyone that recommended this to me, because it's absolutely amazing. And I just love that every episode is like a little mystery, but we still have that underlying mystery with the poison. We still don't fully know what's going on there. So that's like a long thread that we're going to be following as it goes through. But we sort of got an indication as to how the brothels are no different to the palace. There is jealousy, there is intrigue, there is plots to bring down those that are using money to abuse those in lesser positions. He's using money to buy himself out of the problems he's creating. He's manipulating and emotionally coercing these courtesans into falling for him by offering them the chance to be bought out of their term. And that would give them freedom. If their term was bought out, they'd be able to have a life that isn't bound up in pleasuring men. It's such a cruel thing to do to them. And it really, again, just drives home this point of how dependent in this time frame that women are. They really have no sense of power and authority. They have to find any way that they can to assert their own independence. And the only way that these women can really assert their independence and protect themselves from this manipulation and from this man that really should have been banned from the brothel, but his father, being a rich merchant, can just overwrite that with money, and they can't really say no because they're dependent on money, and they're also dependent on their reputation. They can't have the reputation suffer. So the only way that they can really protect the other women here and to protect the establishment is to kill him and make it look like an accident by the other courtesan who was serving him also suffering from poison, because then the reputation of the brothel is saved. It's just seen as like an unfortunate instance, and he dies and the brothel's reputation is secured. They're trying to prevent him from impacting other women, and his impact is so significant that it led to one of the women dying. It led to the courtesan, we presume, killing herself, because she's referred to in past tense. She is referred to by Momo as, you would think that she wouldn't want what happened to her real sister to happen to big sister. So it looks as if like she died and maybe took her own life. Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of like that era of mystery. You don't fully know what happened to her, other than the courtesan that poisoned herself was close to the serving girl's big sister, and she is now no longer here. Whether she killed herself because she felt betrayed by him taunting her with this idea of buying her out of her term and then dumping her. She was so angry and humiliated that she couldn't see any way forward. And with how dire a life is as a courtesan and how it can often feel like you are trapped in this cage, she saw her only way to gain freedom and to escape is to end her life. And she left her younger sister behind, who is angry and bitter and resentful. And the courtesan that is still being made to serve him was close to the sister that died. And she also wants to make him pay for what he's done to the sister, but also to all the other courtesans, because it's not just her that he's done it to. He's done it to numerous. And the madam of the house probably also is involved, because she is asking them to essentially say nothing because it would impact the reputation of the brothel. So they have to conceal the truth of the matter. But if he died and it did get out to the merchant, it could be seen as like an accident, and it could be kind of played off and downplayed, rather than this big scandal of a murder suicide or a murder or a double suicide, because that also would create scandal, because it would seen as him being like wrapped up in a courtesan. It would bring shame to his family. The family would dispute it, and then they'd accuse the brothel of like poisoning him intentionally and murdering him, and then it'd be a whole thing. So they were given luxurious foods to get Mao Mao and her dad to say nothing. And that's why her dad's like, leave it, because it's done now. Like, there's nothing you can do. And what good is it dwelling and figuring it out, because you're not going to be able to do anything about it. Just allow it to happen, because this is the only way that these women can really establish their own power and to protect themselves from being manipulated and abused in this way. Just really goes to show the tragedy of whether you're a courtesan in a brothel or whether you're a courtesan in a royal palace, you're always at risk of being manipulated and used by others. You're always at risk of being trapped in a cage with no way out, and death being seen as the better option, or deciding that you will leave with the first man that sort of can get you out of there safely. It's just really sad. And it's the fact that Mao Mao can like recognize the similarities between the two, because even though they're separated by class, they are united in what it means to be a woman in this society. So yes, the class divisions are huge. The upper class courtesans in the palace are likely to receive far better treatment than the courtesans in the brothels. They have better access to food, more luxuries, they have servants to wait on them, whereas in the brothels, they don't have that. Yes, there's serving girls, but they are still required to take care of themselves. And there is still like an elite system. There is the elite courtesans, the middle courtesans, and then like the lower courtesans, and then courtesans in training. So there is like a class system within the brothel itself, just as there is in the palace. So regardless of class dividing them and class creating these fundamental differences, they are united in the fact that they are all women and they all experience what it means to be manipulated and abused. And they also can relate to one another in terms of their bodies being seen as their only value to men within this society, and this idea of being trapped within a cage because there is no other option for them. There is nothing that they can do to provide for themselves other than offer their bodies to those that have the money and means to give them security. Hence why it's such a humiliating thing to be a courtesan and have a man promise to free you only to then turn around and go no and dump you. And then you not only lose that hope of being free from this environment, but you also lose the money from the client that you were bringing in. So it's like a double whammy. Not only do you lose your freedom, you also lose the money, and then you have to secure another client. And it's not always easy to do, and it's incredibly competitive, like it is in the palace. It is competitive to be a courtesan to the emperor. You have to really impress the emperor, and women will seek ways to undermine each other to get ahead. But in this case, it was actually really somewhat sweet, even though it was a murder plot, that the women are looking out for each other. They are collaborating to protect other women from the abuse of this man in the future. They are trying to find ways in which to protect the reputation of the brothel and the other girls that work in the brothel. So it's girls supporting girls, and they're finding a way in which to get rid of a plague essentially on the brothel. And it was incredibly clever in terms of tricking him by showing him the fancy trick and then drinking from it enough that it would impact her, but not enough that it would kill her. And then they left him long enough that he would hopefully be dead or close to death. And I mean, when Mao Mao found him, he wasn't breathing. He had stopped breathing. She resuscitated him and brought him back. But yeah, they're all in on it. They're all conspired to get rid of him, but it's a very smart plot nonetheless. Anyway, amazing show. And if you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye!